ஓம் நமோ நாராயணாய.
ஸ்ரீராம ஜெயம். ஆழ்வார் ஆச்சாரியர்கள் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஸ்ரீமதே ராமானுஜாய நமக. ஸ்ரீமதே நிகமாந்த மகாதேசிகாய நமக. கதவிருக்ஷா வழங்கும் திருவோணம் திருநாள் நிகழ்ச்சியுடைய இன்றைய பகுதிக்கு உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் நான் வெல்கம் பண்ணுறேன். இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியில் நம்ம கடந்த 6 மாதமாக ஒரு பகவத்கீதா ஸ்லோகம், அதோடைய மேலோட்டமான விளக்கம், அதோட டீட்டெயில் எக்ஸ்ப்ளனேஷன், அதுலேருந்து பல குருமார்கள் நம்மளுக்கெல்லாம் என்னென்னலாம் தத்துவங்கள் சொல்லியிருக்கா, அதோடைய தாத்பரியம் என்ன, அதுலேருந்து நம்ம என்ன கற்றுண்டு ஃபாலோ பண்ணணும், இது எல்லாத்தையும் தெரிஞ்சுட்டு வந்துட்டுருக்கோம். அது எல்லாத்தையும் நம்மளுக்கு ரொம்ப நல்லா ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணிட்டு வரா டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீமதி ஸ்ரீவித்யா சத்யமூர்த்தி அவர்கள். அதே மாதிரி இன்றைக்கும் பகவத்கீதாவுடைய 4th சாப்டர்லேருந்து ஒரு அற்புதமான ஸ்லோகமும் அதுக்கான டீட்டெயில்ட் எக்ஸ்ப்ளனேஷனும் நம்ம எல்லாருக்காகவும் கொடுக்க போகிறா. நேற்று குரு பூர்ணிமா இல்லையா, அதனால் அதுக்கு சம்பந்தப்பட்ட ஒரு ஸ்லோகமும் அதுக்கான விளக்கமும் தான் நம்மளுக்கு கொடுக்க போகிறா. நம்ம எல்லாரும் இப்போ அதை கேட்டு அனுபவிக்கலாம்.
Namaste, Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome back everyone. We sincerely hope that you've been enjoying our sessions and have had an opportunity to ponder over the chosen shloka. Since it is the occasion of Guru Purnima, we wondered what the Jagat Guru himself has said about Gurus and Shishyas. We found a shloka from the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, or Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, or the yoga of renunciation of action in knowledge. Om Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Atha Chaturthodhyayah. Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogaha. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Tatvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshyanti Te Jnanam Jnaninastattvadarshinah. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturthodhyayah. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. As usual, to understand the context of this verse, let us delve into some background information. In the 3rd chapter, Lord Krishna told Arjuna about Karma Yoga, or the yoga of desireless action. Here, the Lord has clarified that karma, which is the performance of swadharma, is the only way, and not only that, this swadharma should be performed without desire. The main problem is to identify one's swadharma, which is a topic that is so challenging and controversial that it needs its own separate episode. But assuming that one has identified one's swadharma, then performing this swadharma without desire is the meaning of Karma Yoga and poses the bigger challenge. Now, this is not an easy task, and an important aid is necessary. The only way to achieve desirelessness is to cultivate a mind that is pure and calm. The only way to do this is to overcome desire, attachment, and anger. Now, how does one go about doing this? So, in the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna begins by explaining to Arjuna that he is going to share with him an ancient secret that Krishna has taught long ago, shared with Vivaswan, who taught it to Manu, and Manu taught it to Ikshvaku. But somewhere along the way, the knowledge was lost. He says, I'm now going to share it with you, who is my devotee and friend. Now, Arjuna is so often confused, and here also he is very confused. With his understanding that Krishna is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, he asks, how could you have taught the Vivaswan or the son who is much older? So this is where the Lord explains. He says, I have passed many births, and so have you. The only difference is I know all my births and you don't know yours. He says that I am Ajaya and Avyaya, that is without birth and imperishable. But still, by my own Maya, I am able to be born. He says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyutthanam tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He says, whenever there is a decline in dharma and an increase in adharma, O Arjuna, at that time I manifest myself on earth to protect the sadhus or the good, and to destroy the wicked or the evil, and to re-establish the principles of dharma. I appear on this earth age after age. After explaining why he takes birth, how no actions bind him, the Supreme One explains why Arjuna should perform action and how he should do it. He goes on to say that a combination of karma, vikarma and akarma, when performed after having understood them, can lead to the formation of lack of bondage. While vikarma as a word is translated differently by different scholars, the V upasarga in Sanskrit may mean opposite or also special or vishesha. So the Lord goes on to say that it is important to know the true nature of karma, vikarma and akarma. Only when karma and vikarma are understood and done in the right way, it leads to akarma, which is a state of inaction. Krishna says that he who recognizes inaction in action and action in inaction is wise among men, a true yogi and a true performer of all actions. In slight distinction, that person, he says, whose undertakings are all devoid of desires and whose actions have been burnt by the fire of knowledge is wise and a sage or muni. So, one who is not attached, who is liberated, whose mind is established in knowledge, who acts for the sake of sacrifice, all his or her actions are dissolved. But how to achieve this desireless action? One way to counter the desire while performing swadharma or karma is to perform certain actions that help purify the mind to achieve calmness and purity. Now, what kind of yajnas or actions can be performed in a spirit of sacrifice that can dissolve the actions without leaving impressions on our mind? These are described as 12 different yajnas. These are listed as Deva Yajna, which is sacrifice to Devas, Brahma Yajna, sacrifice by the self in the fire of the Brahman, Dhamma, that is to steer the senses away, Shama, to divert the mind away, Yajna of Jnanendriyas or sense organs, Yajna of Pranendriyas or organs of actions, Dravya Yajna, which is Yajna of wealth, Tapo Yajna or Yajna of austerities, Yoga Yajna, Yajna of Upasana or Yoga, Swadhyaya, which is self-development or introspection, and Jnana Yajna, which is Yajna of knowledge, Pranayama or Yajna of the breath, and the practice and complete mastery over food intake, appetites, and passions. These 12 sacrifices are spread out before the Brahman. These yajnas are born out of action, and knowing this, one can be liberated. Partaking of the remnants of the yajna or the prasad helps us attain the infinite. He also clarifies that the sacrifice of knowledge is more superior to the sacrifice with objects. But how does one gain this knowledge? Here we come to our verse of the day. The literal meaning of the verse is, Arjuna, know that by long prostration, by questioning and service, the wise who have realized the truth will instruct you in that knowledge. On the occasion of Guru Purnima, we understand here what kind of an attitude a student should have to gain the knowledge from the wise Guru. He talks about prostrating oneself, that is, having an attitude of humility. A Shishya is able to learn from the Guru. An attitude of utter surrender, humility, obedience, and respect. With this, a Shishya is able to absorb the knowledge from the Guru. The flow of knowledge is going to be from a higher gradient to a lower one, and only with a level of surrender and humility can the negative gradient or vacuum be created in order to act as a sponge of the knowledge. The second characteristic he describes is the ability to question. That is, by raising questions and raising doubts with the teacher, the vast ocean of knowledge in the teacher can be unlocked. Here he implies that a perfect Guru will detect the false line of thought and remove the doubts in the mind of the Shishya and guide the student to the correct way of thought. As you all know, in the age-old Guru-Sishya Parampara of our Sanatana Dharma, the Vedantic education has always been presented to us in the form of a question and answer. The Shishya usually presents the Guru with a question and the Guru answers with the wisdom. Thus, the oral tradition of knowledge transfer was happening for millennia. Whether it was the Upanishad, which literally means to sit near and learn or absorb. An example of Kathopanishad that displayed the dialogue between Yama and Nachiketa, or other Guru-Sishya pairs like Drona and Arjuna, Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, our very own Jagadguru Sri Krishna and Arjuna, Periyarvar and Andal. These are examples from ancient history. We also have Chanakya and Chandragupta, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Swami Vivekananda. In our more recent history, knowledge transfer in Sanatana Dharma has taken place in the crucial relation of a question and answer discussion. This discussion has been termed Satsanga. This is probably the only religion or faith in the world that encourages perfect intellectual freedom. This, of course, should come with an attitude of responsibility, curiosity, and willingness to learn, and not to disrespect and question for the sake of questioning. However, we see that in every other religion, blind faith in their scriptures is enforced because the intellectual imperfections are not able to be answered with satisfaction, leading to a lack of full freedom of their seekers to ask questions of their sacred texts. Similarly, a guru who is not ready or who discourages questions from the Shishyas means that he or she is probably concerned that he may not know the answer. A true guru is willing to be enlightened by his or her Shishya. Here I would like to share a story I heard today from my Guru Daji. An old monk with his young disciple was passing through the forest going to another town. But the young man was very puzzled because the old man had never walked like that. He was almost running and clutching the bag. Once in a while, he would feel something inside the bag. The young man could not imagine what he had in the bag. The old man was again and again asking, "Will we be able to reach the town before sunset?" The young man said, "Even if we don't, we have nothing to fear. We can stay in the forest. We have stayed here many times, so this is not new, but today you seem to be strange." The old monk said, "We will discuss it later on. First, be fast. I don't want to stay in the forest tonight." By the side of the road was a well, and the sun was just setting. Before the sun set, they washed themselves. They were really tired. They drank, and while the old man was washing his face, he gave his bag to the young man and told him, "Be careful." The young man said to himself, "He has never been this way before." Out of curiosity, he looked into the bag. In the bag, he was carrying 2 bricks of gold. Now everything was clear. Why the monk could not stay in the forest, why for the first time he was so afraid. While the old man was washing his face and doing his evening prayer, the young man threw those 2 bricks into the forest, found 2 stones weighing almost the same as the bricks, and put them in the bag. The old man finished his prayer in half the time. He was in such a hurry. He immediately took the bag from the young man, and the weight showed him that everything was okay. They rushed on. After a mile, it was getting dark. The old man said, "It seems to be difficult to reach to the town, and this place is dangerous." But the young man said, "Don't be afraid. As far as the danger is concerned, I have thrown it by the side of the well." The old monk said, "What do you mean? You have thrown the danger by the side of the well?" The young man said, "Look into your bag and you'll know." The old man looked into the bag and he said, "My God!" The old man laughed. He threw the bag and sat under the tree. He could not stop laughing. The young man said, "Why are you laughing so much?" The old man said, "I'm laughing because you have done the right thing, and for almost a mile I have still been befooling myself with these stones, thinking they were gold. Now we can sleep under this tree. It is good. I feel relieved. There is no fear, and there is no hurry. He could have been angry at the young man, but he laughed madly, because he could see the point. It was so stupid of me. The young man has proved far more intelligent than me. My own disciple has taught me a lesson. Moving on to our shloka, the third requirement that Sri Krishna has mentioned of a shishya is service or seva, which is not just offering flowers or fruits, but a selfless service of the Guru. This leads to the environment of the ashrama or Gurukula, where the student is so attuned to the Guru's way of life and principles that they absorb knowledge in this setting by an actual practical application of what they have learnt, and due to the close proximity of the Guru. But how can one learn this education and the art of making karma a karma? Here finally Krishna has told us, from the saints of course, he says, go to the saints and learn from them. Only a saint enlightened by this knowledge can teach you the truth, since he or she has seen it. To gain this knowledge, one must sit in front of the Guru or saint. He has thus also given the two qualifications that are needed for a perfect Guru. One of them he describes as perfect knowledge of scriptures. He also says that the Guru should have an experience of the infinite reality or the true self. So he says here that just merely knowing Vedanta is not enough, but this person has to experience the truth in such a way that he may not be able to explain or describe this experience to the Shishyas. But these saints silently perform numerous actions without allowing any disturbance in their still minds. The only way to learn from these saints is to observe them closely by living with them and serving them. The reason this verse is so relevant today is that education is so rampant and expensive, and students are exposed to endurance of numerous and large books at the cost of thousands of dollars or lakhs of rupees. In fact, have you recently tried to lift a backpack of a high school student? There are hundreds of colleges and universities teaching thousands of subjects to millions of students. But the graduates of high schools and colleges these days don't seem to have assimilated any knowledge deeply. The more books one reads, the less seems to be their knowledge, with very rare exceptions. Tens of thousands of books are published, especially in English and other languages. Yet somehow there is lack of common sense and experience in today's students. The students are afraid of everything, and fear seems to limit their minds. They make so many excuses. My memory is weak. It is difficult to concentrate. I'm sleepy. At the time of exams, they're drinking caffeine or other stronger drinks like the Red Bull to keep alert. How is this even helping? So it is high time to stop reading books and listening to lectures. Instead, we should surrender ourselves to true saints and read the real book of life. By our actions of service, we can imbibe true knowledge by remaining perfectly serene. Lord Krishna finishes the chapter by saying that even the sinner of sinners can cross over the sins in the raft of knowledge. And just like the blazing fire reduces fuel to ashes, O Arjuna, the fire of knowledge reduces all actions to ashes. Knowledge purifies like nothing else, and one who is perfected in yoga will find knowledge in the self over time. Having found this knowledge, the one who is full of faith, devoted to that knowledge, and who has subdued the senses, obtains the knowledge, and having done so, goes into supreme peace. So, over our life, we have so many gurus, starting from our mother, father, numerous teachers in school and out of school, who have taught us so many things. Every guru we meet helps us meet the next guru. Ultimately, we will meet that guru who can help us transform ourselves and truly see the light and supreme reality that is within and without. It is one thing to read in a book, Aham Brahmasmi, but a guru who can actually help us experience that I am Brahm is the one that we should all pray for, and one day we are bound to meet such a guru. The Ru, or the one with the divine light of knowledge, who can dispel the gu or darkness, will lead to the complete or full knowledge or Purnima. Thank you for listening. We are grateful for your attention and we look forward to meeting you next time. Once again, please forgive any mistakes that we may have committed, as we are all still students ourselves. Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comment section. Shri Krishna Pranamastu.
Another important episode from Bhagavad Gita and an apt one following the Guru Purnima. Thank you very much once again on behalf of Kathavraksha to Dr. Srimati Srividya Sathiyamoorthy for another amazing episode. ஒவ்வொரு மாதமும் இந்த திருவோணம் திருநாள் நிகழ்ச்சியில் ஒரு பகவத்கீதா ஸ்லோகமும் அதுக்கான விளக்கமும் அதில் நம்ம கற்றுக்க வேண்டிய விஷயமும் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப அழகாக எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டு வரா. இன்னியோடைய ஸ்லோகம் அதோடைய எக்ஸ்ப்ளனேஷன் எல்லாமே ரொம்ப அமேசிங்காக இருந்தது. உங்கள் எல்லாருக்குமே கண்டிப்பாக பிடிச்சிருக்கும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இதே மாதிரி உங்கள் கதவிருக்ஷா சேனலில் நிறைய நல்ல நிகழ்ச்சிகள் வந்துட்டுருக்கு. எல்லாருமே கண்டிப்பாக அது எல்லாத்தையும் பார்த்து எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ணுங்க. மீண்டும் ஒரு நல்ல நிகழ்ச்சியில் உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் நான் சீக்கிரமே சந்திக்கிறேன். அது வரைக்கும் நமஸ்காரம்.